But because I eat a high carb, low fat diet and no restriction, I listen to my body, I listen to my hunger. Depending on my exercise that day or week, my body tells me how much fuel it needs and I feed it adequately. I always go for my carbs first because that's what energizes me, that's what keeps me feeling good, feeling fresh, and that's what keeps me skinny. It can be hard to have sweet quality fruit on hand at all times of the day, so if you got some fruit and it's bland and it's just not satisfying those taste buds, put it in the blender with some sugar. It's been a game changer for me. I had this Nudie Crush here. I really like this one. It's got a fair whack of fibre in it and it's a really good carb hit. About 110 grams in the bottle. And I added 75 grams of cane sugar. Shook it all up, good to go. This is a 1 litre bottle and I will drink the whole thing. When I drink juice, it's not just a glass, it's 1 or 2 litres. Fruit juice with added sugar is incredible for fat loss, for keeping lean and staying energized. White rice with veggie soup and a bit of parsley. This sunrise sushi rice is the main rice Harley and I eat. I've got about 10 bags in the cupboard, really good stuff.
So you probably clicked on this video because you heard that if you eat more carbs than your body needs, you'll store it as fat, right? Well, that statement in itself is simply not that simple, and it's actually not really true because our bodies process carbs differently than, for example, dietary fats. And I hope that after watching this video you'll understand the science of why people who follow a low fat and high carb diet like Natasha, for example, can stay lean and fit like this all year round without counting calories. And I also hope that I can drive the point home that when it comes to weight loss, complex carbs are actually equal to refined carbs. I'm not saying health-wise because we all know that complex carbohydrates such as whole foods have loads of fiber and other minerals with them, but solely when it comes to weight loss, we don't have to fear white rice and we don't have to fear like peeled potatoes or any of that sorts, or even sugar. Number one, very important to note at the beginning, carbohydrates are our body's preferred source of energy.
But then I get a little sugar in me and I start to go cuckoo.
Meaning all of our organs, all of our cells thrive if they have enough glucose. And the most demanding organ in our body who is reliant on glucose is our brain, as it consumes the most glucose compared to every other organ and muscle in our body. Anyway, before you say anything, I know people can survive on low carb diets, people can survive in ketosis, and even on things crazy as the carnivore diet. The reason why that is not because our brain switches to not wanting glucose. It's that because glycogen stores are low, sugar supply is just simply not there anymore or very low, our body will turn to our liver and our liver will produce ketones and keto acids, which will then be used as glucose replacement. I think that's a fair term to say it like that, and our brain will use that instead of glucose. That doesn't mean our brain doesn't prefer glucose, it just means in case of starvation, in case of fasting, that's what our body will do to survive. Back to topic. When we consume more carbohydrates than our body requires for immediate energy, it doesn't just turn into fat right away, which some people think. Instead, our bodies transform those extra carbs into something called glycogen. And you can imagine glycogen as our body's emergency energy stash. It's stored invisibly in our muscles and liver, ready to be tapped into when we need energy for normal daily activity, exercise, studying, or simply just breathing, whatever it is we're doing at the moment to stay alive. And here comes the crazy part. Let me tell you, our bodies can store up to 2 pounds, that's around 0.9 kilograms of glycogen easily without putting on any fat grams on our body. So now you might be questioning what happens if you eat more carbs than you can actually burn right away or store as glycogen if you have some binging kind of attack on white rice or fruit or whatever carbs you enjoy. And the answer is actually pretty cool, because what most people miss when they talk about carbs turning to body fat is a process called dietary induced thermogenesis. It's when our body increases our basal metabolic rate, aka calorie expenditure, by heating up right after eating. So you might have experienced that before. You have a meal and afterwards you feel kind of warm and heated, not just after eating spicy food.
Well, duh.
Just to sum it up, we have the carbs we eat that we use immediately for energy. We have the ones we store in our body, which is around 0.9 kilograms of glycogen in our muscles and in our livers. And then we have our body creating actually more heat after eating to burn off even more. In the end, however, truth be told, I can't say our body doesn't store carbs as fat. If it happens, it is a process called de novo lipogenesis. We see it, for example, with pigs and cows and even bees who use this process to convert carbohydrates into calorie-dense fats on their bodies. But here's the fact, humans are pretty inefficient at this. The reason why is the cost of conversion in carbohydrates into fat is quite high. It's about 30% of calories consumed. Meaning if you overeat over the limit of your glycogen stores and over the limit of dietary induced thermogenesis, 30% of those overeaten carbs will be used as the energy to convert into fat. Meaning only 70% gets stored. So let's put that into perspective. If you would eat 1,000 calories over your glycogen stores, you would only put on 700 calories as fat. Technically. What I personally want to say to that is I think the reason why people are so not terrified, but why people are afraid of carbohydrates is because when they think of carbohydrates, they usually think about things that are actually more fat than carbohydrates, such as pizza. People forget that pizza is not just carbs. Carbs is actually around 50% of the calories. The other 50% is fat, and the fat you eat has a very easy time of transforming into the fat you wear on your body, as the conversion rate from dietary fat to bodily fat is 97%. The most important message you can drive home with this video, if you think about carbohydrates, just think of them as a clean source, in the sense of don't fry your potatoes, don't put too much oil in your pasta dressings, and try to keep it as low fat as possible. Because then you don't have to worry about weight gain. And you might even can enjoy some weight loss if you put down the fat intake low enough and exclude especially processed fats like oils, etc. But that's for another video. Now, if you learned something new in this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up to help me and the algorithm spread this message so we can debunk the carb myth and hopefully help some people who've been afraid of eating carbs because of weight gain. And of course, make sure to subscribe for more videos around nutrition, health and performance. I appreciate you very much, and I see you in my next video if you like. Take care.